All right. We are back for the second half of Swiss in the 2022 Continentals tournament, starting with round four.
We will see 3 more rounds, and then later on today, we'll also be seeing some top cut games.
Exciting.
So, round pairings were just given out, so we expect it shouldn't take long now. Looks like we've got Pancake on the right here again.
Hey. Once again, we fight to see if we can secure ourselves.
I think I noticed a two halves of a pony of shadows there. I'm not sure quite what happened, but it seemed like something bad had happened to that card.
I missed that.
Feathers happen.
Feathers is coming around, destroying everything, I guess. That's probably legal and totally fine. You don't see the old destroy your opponent's card trick in high level play, but I guess Feathers is going for it.
That sounds terrible. Am I missing something with this story?
I don't think we actually know where those came from. I'm assuming that Feathers just has some ripped up ultra rares for humorous reasons and is giving them
Oh,
out.
the Discord.
That's a sweet mat.
Looks like is that the Love Live mat?
Are the characters supposed to be someone specific?
I'm not sure, but I've seen it before and it's cool. That's all I've got for it.
So what do we have playing on the left side? I see pink white. Might be Reanimator.
That looks like Catchy Song,
Or not cadence.
so that would reinforce the Reanimator bet. Skystar, I would not be surprised to see lacking lesson plans. All right, we've got Icing. I think there might have been a Parachute in there. We've got Smile. Definitely Reanimator.
Yeah, maybe this is a variant of Bugle's deck, if not the same.
All right, Pancake showed us his sideboard there. I noticed some, uh, the Spooky Cave one. Um, Grogar Slayer is maybe what that one's called. That makes sense to board out against Reanimator, where it's a lot of really high impact cards.
Yeah, and you might get the Princess Twilight out there, and you
Yeah,
can't be
true.
frightened. Do you remember who Pancake played in earlier today?
He prevailed against Bugle in the last time we saw him.
So it's going to be the similar match that is
Yeah,
earlier
that is a
today.
good point. So we did see 2 games there, and it was 1-1. So it's certainly no easy win for Pancake here, but he's shown he can do it. Do you remember who this playmat belongs to? I don't think we've seen a name tag on the right, or sorry, the left.
It might be Pages.
What the hell? Sorry, that's. I have nat 20'd my first.
We got Sea Pancake.
And it is pages.
All right, we got pages. Oh my goodness, I see Flurry Heart with a knife on Pages' lanyard. It is, it's quite something.
For a second, I thought Pages was flexing that. Or no, but he was just showing us the sideboard.
Is that 2 catchy songs in that sideboard? I did not think that was optional.
Yeah, I think it was, and then we saw. I think we saw. Was it Bugle discarding them earlier today to hand limit?
Interesting. Well, we've learned 2 things. One is that our memory is not good enough for these like flashes of sideboards. And 2, that catchy song is maybe not as key in this version of Reanimator. I mean, I know Reanimator got a lot of new tools, and catchy song is 3 colors. So that's fairly challenging. So maybe they just typically don't stick to those colors as much, and they stay in just pink and white.
I will keep. Well, I mulliganed actually my first hand, so.
I think Sea Pancake won the roll to see who goes first.
I see a stick and that extra flip event. So solid start for Pancake, it looks like.
Shooby doop.
Pretty conventional start here. He's going to start scoring, which honestly puts him in a pretty similar position to Solano. You flip early and you get a couple of free points out of it. However, this is interesting. Since Pancake has the staff, he's going to do a double, or not a double, but a face-off here to push Skystar back and prevent him from getting too many points early here. Which is pretty nice.
Oh, yes.
Oh, there goes a Luna.
Big flips on both sides. Flipping a 5 could have been enough to swing that if Pancake had flipped low, but he did not.
Oh, 4. Sorry.
Looks like I don't think that's Hope Hollow. What problem is that? Is that Hope Hollow?
I think it is, yeah. There's just a little bit of an extra border on Page's cards here.
Oh, okay. Sea Pancake's hand looks pretty good with the dash and mullet.
And he's still got Tarnished rep out. Right, that's really nice. You've got a face-off, but you kept it at your opponent's problem. And now it's going to take longer for anyone to double face-off. And you get a free move again. So Pancake is going to get, he's going to confront for free next turn, assuming he goes to Tarnished rep. And he'll only need 1 extra strength to confront at Hope Hollow. So it's a pretty good position.
So, what lets you move before you draw? Tarnished reputation. Okay.
Now, Pages does have that Pinky Sense, which is certainly pretty nice, but it's not enough to, make a whole strategy just yet.
Troublemaker.
Yeah, Troublemaker?
That adds up.
Move to confront. Sure.
So far, this is exactly the type of start that Pancake would want to see. Really, not that much has had to go right. It's pretty much just getting the Staff of Sakanas and going first, but that's enough to already put him in a pretty nice position to start.
At the end of Pancake's turn, Pages exhausts his pinky sense and discards a golden parachute.
Yes, that timing is nice. You get to wait until you've got all the information, but you're still going to be able to re-ready your pinky sense for your next turn. In this case, probably there wasn't very much information that he would need, but maybe if Pancake had triggered a face-off with Sakanis, then Pages could have put something chaotic on top of his deck instead. Well, there will be no chaos this match. I don't think Bugle was playing the Changeling Throne, so this definitely seems like a different version of the deck. I'm not sure if Bugle was playing Parachute either. We never saw it. But Parachute here, sorry, Throne here is pretty interesting because that is also a card that Pancake plays. It is very rare to see a Pancake, sorry, a Throne mirror match. It's not rare to see a Pancake on stream because he typically does pretty well.
I'll stack down Citrine.
So I honestly doubt that Pancake plays any chaotic since he also runs Changeling Throne. So it's probably not that big of a deal, except potentially for some hasty friends. Oh, it also will tax Pancake's extra flips, which is pretty good.
Yeah, like the Rainbow Laser, I think it's called.
Yes. And if he has any other similar cards, like Join the Herd, that will become pretty annoying to use in a face-off.
Now, when Pancake uncovered his Winterzilla, he decided to get rid of the pinky sense instead of the throne.
Right. Which is, you know, kind of funny because the throne is so much more expensive. But I would
In a
believe
farm style match, I think it's the right way.
exactly. I'd believe that Pancake is just like, hey, Pinky Sense, flip rigging, big deal. Chaotic going away, not that big a deal. Now that does give Pages the option to pay for points with the throne, but this early, it's still really expensive, so I'm not sure how big of a deal that is.
Sometimes players will get more resources out than the opponent expects, and then it becomes, well, I only have things to get one resource at a time. Now, what do I do?
Yeah, and that's definitely a problem for blue and white. I'm not sure how many good choices Pancake would have if it's just a deluge of resources.
And then there's
But
other
typically,
decks that don't have any resources, so.
yeah, it's always a meta guessing game how many resource answers you should bring. Typically, Pancake, his deck is built around the fact that resources are not usually the end of the world, and he plays enough on his own. So the resources that Pancake really wouldn't want to see would be things like Spooky Ruins or
Desert Road.
Desert Road would be bad for sure. But since he's got his own resources like the shield and the Staff of Sakanas, he can usually just push through. And if a challenging resource comes out, he just kind of limits his scope and just works with the main. Or, you know, maybe he can't play a lot of friends, but he can still farm. So typically, Pancake is going to be able to work around some of the more impactful resources, and so he probably doesn't have that much resource removal in the deck.
Pancake plays a Rarity Pirate, but it is belly flopped away before it can score the points.
Yeah, belly flopping into a seashell is pretty nice. And that pirate costs 3 for Pancake. So the 1 cost to belly flop it is very, very worth it. That is one issue with farm generally, is you play few enough friends that are high enough impact that just a few pink events can be a really big problem. Swinging Wonders is kind of the exception to that rule, since the ability to move on entering play is typically good enough where a belly flop is not going to stop whatever the plan was. Right, we are entering. Pages doesn't have any white right now because it's frightened. So he might have just entered into white, or one of his other colors. Oh, it was white.
So we have the family. So what's coming out? We have a icing and a Prince Rutherford.
Rutherford is very good for Pancake here. That game where he lost to Bugle, a big part of it was he didn't have anything good to play on Royal Family. But as a farm with these huge friends, I mean, Rutherford isn't that much weaker than everything is icing. Like, this is not that bad for Pancake.
Wrath of Gilda for Pancake.
That could be pretty good pretty soon. I would say that Page just doesn't have enough threats on the board yet, but it won't be long.
Pages gets a mysterious disappearance on top of his deck with Pinky Sense, and the staff is gone.
Yep, that's pretty good. Um, that that is why in the previous games we saw with Pancake, he got that thrown out early because the throne can protect itself, but the staff is at a lot of risk. For winning that face-off, Pancake gets to draw Winterzilla, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. But I think that's worth it at this stage for the 2 points. Already got a pinky on the field.
Pancake will still be confronting since he has that Rutherford, so it's not the end of the world to lose the staff this
I
turn.
understand that. Look. Yes.
Pages opts for the Mega Shuffle cut.
That goes to hand. They want to draw.
And because of the order of various things, the card on the bottom of the deck must stay at the bottom of the deck because it was flipped. So that was the one card that Pages did not shuffle. One interesting thing about this situation is now everything is icing doesn't have a resource to potentially hit. So Pages might have gotten rid of the Staff of Sakanas anyway with everything is icing, and now that ability to hit resources is just no longer relevant. So the mysterious disappearance was certainly good, but it was slight good since he already had a separate opportunity to do that counter. This is the big Swinging Wonders way that we were talking about. A double here, pretty solid. I definitely understand that. Pages has a lot of friends out already, and he's confronting every turn with everything is icing.
Random friend? Yep.
Oh, wow. It looks like they just flipped again, and Pages definitely flipped higher. So not only is he going to get this bonus point, but he gets to do a dismissal with the Chaos Magic Blast that he flipped.
Okay, that's for the point. Yep. Mystery at Hollow.
Probably would have preferred to hit the Rutherford, but
Yeah, certainly. But it's just free money for pages, so not going to complain, I'm sure.
We got that take over. 59 low comes into play.
oh, I forgot that Rutherford has Swift.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Now, um, this is kind of interesting. You don't usually see such tiny problems in a farm problem deck, but Pancake's problem that just came out is the 2/2.
Joker. We got it.
So neither player is going to have much trouble confronting that.
He's probably thinking he can confront it with his Pony Pirate rarity.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty solid.
Joker. Yep.
One thing that's worth noting is the more things that Pages dismisses off of Pancake's board, the more likely that Wrath of Gilda becomes. So if Pages decides to double down and try to take out that Rutherford, he may be incurring separate difficulties. Did we see a roll for Everything is Icing yet, or is that still pending?
Was that the one that got the Dash and Mullet?
No, that was a roll for Chaos Magic Blast.
It's swinging wonders. More than likely.
Oh, and you
Now,
were
I'm
asking
not
about the
sure
icing.
if... Yeah, I'm not sure if his turn has actually started yet. He may be making some other decisions, like, for example, whether to use Changeling Throne, things like that. So I think the Everything is Icing trigger may still be pending.
I forgot about Pirate. Pony Pirate. There's a couple card options there. I forgot about this. Oh, I don't think I've done anything yet. Yeah. Okay. Choosing playing friend resource and troublemaker, then for each card chosen this way, choose one of the following random.
And it's time for icing.
Perfect. Okay, so you have one friend. Yep. That one doesn't count, right? Yep. Okay. So got a D4. Yes, I do. Yep. Just down the order. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's it. Yep. 1. Do nothing. Nothing. Okay.
All right, he got the do nothing effect. Everything is Icing can be pretty frustrating like that.
Yeah, and sometimes if it gets put in, if a card gets put back in the hand, that can be bad too.
Yeah, if there are enough cards, then you can just choose not to pick that one. But if there's only one, I think, Pinky, it's non-optional. You have to pick something.
Yes, Pinky's definitely non-optional in all regards.
Play Miss Man. Okay.
It's not even optional to include her in your deck. Every
Exactly.
deck must run Everything is Icing.
You got it. Throw that one? Yep. I know it. Yep.
Most decks just sideboard her out because they can't enter into her.
I score 1, 2, 3, 4 points total. Yep. 3 to 7.
All right, very interesting. We speculated that Pancake might play that tiny problem for Pony Pirate, but it also let Pages confront it with just a Mistmane, which is
My turn.
pretty nice. That's a snazzy feeling.
Yep. 5. Needs 4. Go. Okay.
Now I didn't catch what Pages recycled with the Mistmane,
5 AT.
but at this point, having won a double and played the Mistmane, he must be okay score-wise, maybe around 5 or 6. Whereas it looks like Pancake is a little higher, maybe around 8.
Radar.
Pancake may even be at like 9 or 10.
What can I do here?
Yeah,
I can do it all.
I'm fairly unable to read it just by fraction of the card that has been uncovered. So it definitely could be higher than I think. Certainly, Pancake has had a pretty good game here and has scored a lot. And Pages really has not been able to dominate the discussion, even though he has more things on his board. He just he hasn't had the oomph. Once again, this is a game where the first tricorn was Pinky, and it's just not as relevant.
We're going to see Wrath of Gilda. It's Wrath of Gilda.
That's exciting. Now, honestly, it doesn't remove that many characters. The big one is Pinky. And then also it gets rid of the entry that Pages has, which is honestly probably the biggest aspect. Because Pages is a many color deck, you know, I imagine that his entry suite does kind of rely on quickly you get to a 3-color card and then you just use that. And now that he doesn't have any on his board, he's going to have to, at minimum, pay a few extra actions to get back to where his entry was. And then on top of that, of course, he doesn't have Pinkie Pie anymore.
I'll move to confront for a point. Sure. Moves me up to 12. Okay. Here's 1 to 6. Yep. In that case, it still would have been frightened, but yeah. Yeah. It'd still be good. Yeah, that's true. Oh well. All good.
Maybe Wrath of Gilda is making a catchy song harder to play today, and that's why it got cited out.
That's interesting. Yeah, just entering into it against a deck that uses board wipes so regularly might just be prohibitively difficult. All right, so Pages is rebuilding both players' boards by starting with the Royal Family. Twilight coming out is very big. Oof. And Pancake does not have anything especially valuable to hit. So it's just an entry resource. Probably calling white. And I think that's enough to give Pages the double, since the Royal Family gets boosted up to 5 by Twilight.
Is that the problem? Yick Slurberg Fest on the right for Pages?
Yes. I believe it gives you draws if you have the highest character, which Pages does. But it's unlikely to stick around long enough for it to even trigger.
Okay. Yep. You got them both. Okay. 13? Yeah. Score 3.
Oh, yeah, there was a golden parachute in that discard pile that maybe we all forgot about.
Yeah, I think they might have been discussing it earlier. I'm not positive, but even
I mean, it
with
would
the
still be
golden parachute,
frightened.
exactly. And so it's not amazing. It's not terrible, but since Pages just had entry in his
Yeah, he
hand,
had the
it
good
might not have
entry.
been worth it. Which is interesting. It's actually Pages' board is probably better than it was last turn before the board wipe. However, it did take some precious time. And with Pancake super duperly close, I think is the technical term, to winning this game, just that little bit of extra time while Pages had to restore his board might be enough.
And final question.
Yeah, I don't know that it's necessary, but the fact that Pancake only has to single confront to win the game here is pretty nice.
Shield. Sure.
Okay, he's playing Shield. I think that might be a bid to keep the Tempest Shadow alive. It's going to be hard for Pages to farm it this turn. And as long as Pancake has access to that problem next turn, he should be able to just win the game.
Then this wouldn't matter anyway.
Oh, Changeling Throne actually taxes all cards during face-offs, not just events.
Yeah, which is
Alright, let's roll some dice.
slightly relevant for sure. The biggest event or friend that you would expect to see played during face-off here would be Swinging Wonders. Rutherford also gets played during events, though Pancake could just play Rutherford first, and that would probably be fine. Pages using Smile Song to get rid of the final question. It's a reasonable call. I could see that being necessary for Page's survival into the next turn, but I don't know how good his next turn's going to look because this turn was spent almost entirely on that one thing because Smile Song costs 3. So Kevin's surviving for now, but it seems tough. I think he is still thinking hard about the second ability with the Smile Song. Picking up his deck, it looks like he's going for a search.
Looks like he might have 5 AT left on his blue die there in the middle.
Oh, if it is actually 5, that's plenty.
Unless he hasn't done the smile, smile, smile yet, but probably has.
What should he get? So the obvious answer would be Luna Midnight, who's just a really impactful card. Pages does have a way to get her into the discard, so if he has a recursion tool, then he could play that Midnight. But I don't know if that's going to do precisely what he needs right now. It's just like a good card generally. So easily there could be a card that's better suited to this particular situation. I'm just not sure what it is. I mean, maybe he's just considering getting another royal family, since that was good last time. Oh, bodyguards. Sure.
I don't know that there's any great options at this point.
Yeah, bodyguard is interesting. It's definitely a powerful card, and he can play it. Right, he's entered into those colors. Um, but I'm not sure exactly what it does for him here. There aren't that many friends on the board. Probably they won't be leaving play all that much. But maybe he has an idea that we have not yet seen. Oh, wow. It becomes a complicated play to be able to double cheaply.
With a
Because he can
with a three
Yeah.
power unicorn token.
There it was.
Wow. That's
With
pretty cool.
not
Because he has the Twilight,
friend to just
he pulled a card that could be two small cards, which is much more efficient action-wise than one big card, which is what Reanimator mostly has, is a lot of big cards.
no, no.
And then he was able to double,
That was good.
which, based on them shaking, seems like that was all he needed to win.
Wow.
I figured I knew what your deck was doing, but I'd never seen it before. Right, right. I had a yeah.
I thought he was further back in points. Congratulations to Pages.
I had not realized how high his score was.
God, that one turn in which you just got 6 points in one turn, I was just like, crud. Like, but I had to do it because Swinging Wonders was my only hope for like a last through.
Well, I can see why he was thinking so hard about that Bodyguards pick, because that is a pretty complicated path to victory. But it's very good. If we consider that he had to do that through a Troublemaker, so he needed to use Smile for both abilities, right? He needed to pull Bodyguards, and he needed to get rid of a problem. That was impressive. Usually, it's hard to see Reanimator move that quickly. You know, its main answer to Troublemakers is just, I'm really big, I can farm them eventually with all of my big friends.
And maybe he wasn't thrilled to see a 7
Would have won me the game.
requirement problem pop up, but
Yeah,
I guess
certainly would have
would
been
he
easier
would he
with-
have seen the problem before choosing the pink friend from his deck?
Oh yeah, I could have done this. I forgot.
In this case, he definitely did. I'm
Because,
not sure
because
if
the
the order
Smile Smile
happens that
Smile
way
has one definite thing at the beginning, and then you choose one. So
Just commit the friend once, but it's like all those, oh, I could have done this. Yeah.
He may have had to choose that he was going to search, but not what he was going to search.
I like you see me. I always pause before I draw because I have thrown. I have.
I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't played wrong or anything. It's just pretty clever to go for the Bodyguard when you needed, you needed 7.
I did use it once
Yeah,
in my
it
first round.
is only something you think of if you've been playing the deck enough that you really are comfortable with all of the opportunities.
I hated that because it's like, here, let me rush make over Wrath of Gilder your board. Ha ha ha. Oh wait, you just rebuild it with a single card.
Oh yeah, the Wrath of Guild
Well, with 2 cards.
didn't win the game for him.
Like, there was. I think I'm not.
Yeah,
sure
so actually reading Pinky Sense, you have to pull the friend before you replace the problem.
Oh,
But that's not the biggest deal, but definitely he was doing his math having known that that problem was there. However, well, I guess that does get him to 7 exactly. So if like Pancake had, if an 8 had come out, then that would have been pretty different.
I mean, he may have been going for Bodyguard all along anyway.
Yeah, I don't know that it is a big deal, but definitely something to think about there.
What am I supposed to do? I gotta get the points. Hope that you don't have Mysterious in hand and keep pushing. Yeah, yeah. Like this deck is so good, and then I have 6 entry, right? And I had 4 in hand. It's like, okay. Yeah, not gonna lie, I went very greedy with mine too. I didn't even go greedy. That was the thing. Yeah, no, I went greedy. Because that was off the mulligan. Like my first hand was unplayable. Yeah. Like I think the hand I ended up with was way worse.
Well, at this point, Pancake is actually 2 losses, one of them being a friendly, of course, against the Reanimator. So it's definitely a challenging deck for him.
I just like didn't have.
Now, this game was actually super close, whereas the last 2 that we saw, it was Bugle won by a lot the second time, Pancake won by a lot the first time.
I don't know, just because I don't want to be fighting off as much, and then Krogar's lair. Oh, I literally didn't know what I was doing.
I put in a thing to Ara to see if
Really? Yeah.
he wants to weigh in on the Smile 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 question, even though it's too late for him. match wise.
I got rid of
What's up?
and I believe
If it's too late because the match is completely over, but when someone plays Smile, 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 do they have to find and reveal the friend before they choose the problem replacement?
like
Okay. Sorry, run that by me again.
I was wondering where that second one went.
If you read the card Smile, 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 it says find a pink friend and then choose one.
I actually had two in my hand.
You would have
When
to
it was both in my
choose the
hand,
pink
there was
friend
one
before
replaced for
seeing
one
the
friend.
replaced problem, right?
My discard powder too. I'm like, what did I do with it? Oh well. I guess I must have not have.
Yes, you need process modifiers in order.
Um, not sure if Pages did that in the match, but like I said, the match is over and it's too late, so I don't know if you want to talk to Pages on the site or something to see if
Time for
that
what
happened. I
actually
can't
matters
remember.
later.
I have not secured myself.
I think they saw a smile, smile, smile play. You have to pick the friend before you.
Yeah, no, we were discussing that and I realized it after I.
Okay. Yeah. Got to process modifiers in order.
Yep.
That was a really hard choice. I didn't know.
They already figured it out.
Well, they're good players too. They know
Yeah,
how the
everyone's
rules
played
work.
real well today, and everyone has been real quick on their plays. There's been no long
But if basically the
turns, you
number
know.
was anything larger than
Yeah,
that,
no like really big pauses to work through.
that was the only
Even though
reason
we've seen a little bit of control,
so anything bigger
most
than
of it
that
has been
then
pretty quick decks. Not pure aggro, but fast stuff. The farm is fast, the reanimator is fast. But
because I had
the chaos control is not fast.
anything else. The only thing left in my hand was a Jack, which I kind of
Oh, it looks like a Among Us little figure there.
so it was
Oh, interesting.
And then like, I would have
I
loved a
remember I played that
primal
so much when it first
influence
came out, and now I haven't played it in months.
I want a slower pace.
I never played it.
Not
I
necessarily
just
slow,
noticed
more
as a lot of people talked about it.
yes.
and so I knew I had to
But it seemed pretty cool.
really pick up the pace.
God, that freaking 9.3 to 9, I was like, wait, oh crap.
However, the true game that will last forever is pony cards.
The only
Been
game
around
that
for like
matters.
7 years or something. Pretty good.
And I remember I was at my first BronyCon, and I was looking at the events, and I was like, "This is your first, kind of convention of this kind. Try new things, do things you wouldn't normally do." And so, very early on, I said, "Well, I'm going to go check out whatever this MLP CCG cards are. I like games."
Yeah, very cool.
And that's where I got my Luna's Future promo.
Interesting. Okay. I feel like I got that promo somewhere, but I don't remember where.
So it was between DOE and Sequestria. I should call it Sequestria. Sequestria is like where you send a jury when they're deliberating. So I wonder how the standings are going so far with 2 matches left.
Yeah, typically they send the most accomplished players our way. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of these players we just saw had been undefeated. I also wouldn't be surprised, of course, if they had lost one previously. But it could be at this point that Pages is the sole remaining undefeated player because, um, we've already seen some of the big names, and we've already seen them lose the game they had on stream.
And it's a deck that Bugle lost a match with, so
That's true.
even
Yeah.
that's not perfect. So very exciting. So, did you cook your pizza for lunch?
I did have a pizza. It took me a while, so I didn't actually eat a very large portion of the pizza because it's like 20 minutes to cook, but then I had to preheat it. It's a whole big thing making food, it turns out.
Mm-hmm. I had cheese and crackers because I wasn't very hungry yet.
Okay, we're done with round 4. We're about to go into round 5. And you've been getting a little bit of everybody. I'm trying not to just keep the top 2 on the stream because it's going to get boring real fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Variety. Can just barely hear him. Not enough to make anything out.
Yeah, I think we'll have to just wait until they sit down.
I think I heard table 5, so there's at least 10 players. Hope they didn't forget their Among Us toy.
Well, since it was here since the very beginning, I'm sure it is likely to stick around for the rest of the stream. And then
It's like the
I doubt
worst.
whoever put it there would forget.
It's like the worst plush ever.
Yeah.
What among? Hey, why is there this body here? Why didn't you report the body? Commentator sus.
We are sus.
Body here. Why didn't you report the body? Commentator sus.
Oh, they're saying the commentator is sus. Now, I don't know about that.
I don't know that we hid that body. I think we thought it was innocuous. All right, we've got
Smithers on the
Dumb Crayola
left.
Bug. And that is definitely a new playmat that I've not seen. It also must be pretty new chronologically, within the last couple of years at most.
It's got pony life vibes.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool playmat.
I wonder if that's Jeffrey Wetter.
I cannot make out anything on the name tag yet.
Oh, it looks like Dilemma Shy.
Oh, wow. And from the problems, it's blue and yellow. So this is going to be quick. I promise you all. One thing worth saying here for sure is that, so we haven't seen this Fluttershy yet. The first time your problem is replaced every turn, not replaced, a new one of your problems comes out. Every turn, that player owning that Fluttershy gains an action and a card. It's pretty good, but it's especially good against other aggro decks because they're also replacing your problem. So this matchup, even though Dumb Changeling Bug is the more established deck that we've seen succeed a little more, the Fluttershy is typically like favored in this precise matchup. Smithers showed us his name tag to remind us all he was Smithers, but still have not seen the other one, I don't think. Now, I do know that Instagram pretty commonly plays this style of deck. So just based on the deck, it may be him.
Ah, here they are.
Both of these playmats are not specifically CCG playmats, which is actually a little uncommon.
It is Instagram.
All right. I was a good guesser.
Seen me before.
Smithers once again. Telepathy is Smithers. I must say, I really like Smithers' the pony on his lanyard. I think that's a really nice art there.
Yeah.
Last time I played this main against your main, you beat me.
Yeah. Galacon. I think I'm playing the same deck, so
Well, I
I don't know if
modified
you've
mine.
modified yours. Ah. Right. I rolled the first one.
All right. Apparently, these two met at Galacon with similar decks.
Oh yeah, Instagram made the long journey.
15.
I think Instagram is West Coast.
What do we got here?
Okay. Well, at least this trip wasn't too bad for him.
Double Bunyip, Brian,
Fine.
Dash and Mullet.
See.
Looking pretty good on the
Ultra
left.
rare Fluttershy on the right. I think maybe a Bunyip as well. And something that was multicolor. And all of the multicolor stuff is gold.
Ultra rare Fluttershy. That could be interesting.
Oh, also, I'm realizing ultra rare Fluttershy is like one of the least specific things I could say. There are so many ultra rare Fluttershies.
I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. The very newest one. No, the second newest one. The Unity one.
2 action tokens.
So 15
Oh,
Unity.
that one. Yeah,
if you have
I've
enough...
played that one. I think that one's super rare.
No. It was a whole cycle. It's
For
gotta be Ultra. I don't know. Rarity doesn't matter as much in the new era. All right. Well, this is something that Instagram kind of pioneered in the recent use. Is Fluttershy main is searching high and low. So he gets to confront turn 1, and he's basically just daring his opponent to come. So Thorax will get to flip on turn 1 if he goes up there, because Thorax has 2 strength due to Buckball strategy. However, it's not so great as that flips Instagram's main right now, and also Instagram that extra action and card. So Thorax will flip early, but so will Fluttershy, and Fluttershy is typically agreed to be harder to flip. So by playing Searching High and Low against at least most aggro mains, Fluttershy becomes as easy to flip as a Confront to flip, which is pretty good.
That's still a tie.
Wow. I think you flipped 2
2 Vapor Trails.
Vapor Trails.
Face off for 0
That's a
points.
3rd tie.
Still a tie.
That's a 4th tie.
Ah,
Okay. Congratulations. You
let
win.
down by Bunyip.
0 points.
Wow. I'm not sure I've seen 5 flips with no tricks at all.
It's just aggro likes little cards.
That's true.
Lots of 2s.
The one time they flipped resources, it was at the same time. So, yeah, pretty good.
2 action tokens. Draw.
Okay, so Instagram should be at 3 action tokens here, because he flipped before the problem was replaced.
No actions this turn.
Oh yeah, and it's not a May. And it was his problem. Looks like Ara is helping.
Oh, yes, it triggered.
That's mandatory, so you have to fix that.
All right. There we go. Making full use of the really good main.
Ara doing a great job of listening to us and judging and
Yeah, this is not typical that the
putting out
judge is just
putting out
listening in.
putting out dumb bug ponies.
Yeah. Really just a total content creator here, in addition to being a judge.
Dumb Crayola pony, I should say. I needed the sign to remember that. Bunyip doing bunyip things.
Prism setting the record straight that the Unity Fluttershy is only rare.
Ah, we're both wrong.
That shows you how out of touch I am with rarity in the new era.
2 for Loyal Pony. Moving my main.
If Prism doesn't know, nobody knows.
1 for Bunyip.
Bunyip
Attack
battle?
of the Bunyips.
Yes, here. 1 for second Bunyip.
Oh,
Wow. Well, we told you that this would be a screamer of a match, and that is what is happening.
I've been out Bunyip.
4 phase. Confront.
Yep.
Bunyip.
At this point, I think more points will have been scored via shenanigans than via confronting.
What's that?
Yes.
3.
Maybe it's a tie that Instagram has scored 2 normal ways and 2 with Bunyip, and then Smithers has scored 1 normal ways and 1 with Bunyip. Oh no, Smithers has scored 2 points besides Bunyip. So we've scored slightly more points honestly than through Bunyip-related cheating.
cheating.
It's no fair. It's too good.
Score phase. Time to confront.
I say, being like
Go ahead.
a huge Bunyip player, and one of my favorite decks is mono yellow. All right, Smithers with an early attack using Swinging Wonders. Doubling here is quite difficult, and I wouldn't be surprised if, had this not happened, Instagram wouldn't have even doubled next turn because it's just so expensive. But Swinging Wonders, that'll do it.
No Night Glider overpowering yet from Smithers.
Terrified Scream. So that was the flip. It wasn't played here, but it does tell us that Terrified Scream is in Instagram's deck, which I find very interesting. Maybe it was in there before, but I wouldn't be surprised if Instagram is actually reacting to the fact that Dumb Crayola Bug is such a popular deck right now, even though apparently only Smithers is playing it, that Instagram decided that, you know, it's a really good answer to specifically Thorax because it can remove Thorax from the face-off, which is like, you know, often like a 6 or 8 strength swing, and it's just 1 action.
And then you sideboard it out if you're not against Thorax.
Exactly. So, considering that Thorax was likely to be one of the top contenders of this tournament, I think that's a really good inclusion. Unfortunately for Instagram, a lot of the decks that are showing up to this tournament, that's not as relevant for, but this is the time to shine.
And we are here for it. Instagram has a fair amount of AT if he wants to maybe do 1 Bunyip, but looks like he needs to get some blue out there to confront his problem.
Well, he also has Shoeshine, so the frightened Bunyips at home just become Shoeshine food. I could see him just totally abandoning the bunyips and doing just a big flashy double here.
Well, it seems that he's going to have to confront a final question there if he can.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just a dilemma if that works better. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But he for sure needs to remove that final question by doubling.
One
I think he just drew a second shoe shine. So,
shine.
to be honest, I don't know if it's possible to lose a game when you have 3 shoe shines. I thought he only had 2, and I was wrong.
Well, I don't know what so many shoe shines does for you, since they can each only eat one thing.
They step on each other's toes a little bit, but the thing is, um, it makes your opponent's tricks basically worthless because Shoeshine is so good as a score phase trick. Um, it becomes almost inevitable that you can always double. Because if your opponent takes out one thing, you can just zoop over another Shoeshine. And at this point, there are too many Shoeshines, and your opponent can never hope to get rid of all of them. Additionally, and this is actually going to become super relevant and turn into a game winning fact, every Shoeshine is going to generate 1 critter when Istagram wins this face off. And so
Yes.
all of the Shoeshines are going to be big, and they're all going to be able to zip around. And because of that, there's basically no way Instagram loses.
I forgot about the critter creation.
It is easily the least relevant part of Shoeshine, and she didn't need it. But, yep, she does that too. Ivory pointing out, it's all about the message. It's a threat.
Smithers
It's
with
bragging.
another. Smithers with another final question.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's great luck, but to be honest, he's only at around 6 points. I don't know that it's enough. I mean, Instagram hasn't seen either of his final questions yet. So if Smithers does double, he might uncover a final question and then Instagram wins immediately. It's always a risk here. Smithers showing us, for fairness, that there is also a final question on bottom of his deck. He did replace.
Don't worry about us, Smithers. We trust you.
Ooh, there's a nice squirrel critter token. That is a slightly unusual one.
Neat.
Critter.
These are the types of things that keep me going.
This shoe shine.
So I think this is all still happening on Instagram's turn. So Instagram at this point, he's not confronting the final question, which is a good call because you don't want to give Smithers the opportunity to do a face-off there. But he is confronting his own problem. Now, he's not scoring any points because this is after his score phase. But he's got enough strength to confront. So if Smithers wanted to do specifically a single face-off there, he could. Usually, letting your opponent do a single face-off is a liability. But in this case, no, because it's Instagram's problem. So if that one gets replaced, then Instagram would get an action and a card, and he gets another chance to pull up a final question and win the game immediately. So it's actually basically inconceivable that Smithers would take that opportunity and just do a single face-off. Smithers, if he's going to do a face-off, it has to be a double. Now, probably he can do that because these decks are just so powerful. However, if he doesn't have pretty good cards in his hand, he may not be able to because his board is so bad at this point. You know, he doesn't have that much, and Thorax is only 4.
Thinking maybe something to create some critters. Maybe friends are always there or something.
Yeah, for sure. That would be good. Now, the downside is that because Smithers most important goal right now is to confront Final Question, which is mostly blue, that he might actually be forced not to invest in Thorax this turn, and instead just do whatever it takes to get 4 blue.
Perhaps a rocket scooter then.
That would be good. Rocket Scooter, if he has that in his hand, that's just right. Though honestly, I wonder why he would be calculating so much if he had a rocket scooter. But maybe he has that and something else where he can go for a flashy double face-off. The issue against 3 shoe shines, though, is like, what if you lose the face-off? That would be so painful.
Do we
It
know
looks
if
like
Instagram has another of the Frightened Fluttershy card for face-offs?
Um,
Screen?
I don't know if he has one in hand, but we've only seen the one. I bet he's probably got 2 in the deck because it seems like 3
Yeah.
might be hard to find room for. So I could see it going either way. One thing to remember about this Fluttershy is she draws a lot more than your average aggro deck. So she typically has just a little more than you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
So Instagram may have seen that other card. Definitely seems like Smithers is in a tough situation. I can certainly see that he can do a single confront just with that loyal pony in hand and the 4 actions that he's got. But, you know, that's dreaming pretty small, and it is not him on a credible path to beating Instagram. So I think he's looking for something big, something snazzy. And another loyal pony, while it's actually a really impressively good card, is not enough here because basically the issue is whatever Smithers does here, he needs to also separately make sure that Instagram doesn't win next turn. And with 3 shoe shines, Instagram has a lot of really easy ways to win next turn. So I totally understand that drawing of 1 card, but that 1 card unfortunately was not very good. So
Especially because
I'm
you
not
already had that one.
exactly. I'm not sure if he can afford to draw again, because it looks like he definitely doesn't want to draw again. It looks like he's trying to figure out what he can still do from here.
Looks like he has 3, and he has a dash and mullet in hand.
All right, I guess he had 4. I guess probably we're at 5 actions a turn already.
And I guess he just barely has the bunyip wreck from the frightened friend.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is a rare sight to see Thorax struggling to make on-color entry.
Looks like
All right, this
Smithers
is
at
huge
10.
scoring.
That's probably the card Smithers wanted before.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
10, 16.
You got that.
Well, this is a huge point turn. I mean, that takes him up to 12? But, I mean, how many points did he just score? 1, 2, 6, 7. So he went from 5 to 12. Which is huge, but that's the problem.
And
Your
that was
opponent
like with
getting a
4
final
AT.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 AT,
Fluttershy.
7 points.
Dash
That's-
and mullet, good.
Yeah, that's why blue and yellow are a fearsome combination. Now, the issue here is that Smithers didn't save any actions, and Instagram very likely can win the game with expending 0 actions. So I think it's over. But nonetheless, we did get to see a very impressive turn from Smithers.
Confront for game.
So he was at 14.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Instagram.
Yeah, that was a cool game. What I definitely want to say about Instagram's deck is because it's Stunning Wonder, who's good against aggro, because Instagram seems to have gone out of his way to prepare against Smithers' deck, not because of Smithers, but because of Grandpa's doing so well with it in previous tournaments. This was probably the more likely outcome. I think Smithers probably did not prepare specifically against Instagram's deck, but I think it's pretty likely that Instagram prepared specifically against Smithers. Um, Instagram may have more problems against some of the other decks in the field, but this was the matchup that this deck should be exceptionally good at. And we did see it was a pretty convincing win. I mean, it was still close, but at the end there, I mean, Instagram, he got to 15, but if he had a few fewer points that turn, like he could have scored like 6 points, whereas he only scored like 2. So
Yeah,
it was a pretty compelling win.
Smithers could have used a little more draw in his deck.
That's true.
Something that Instagram had.
Yeah, I mean, draw tech is not something you typically get to see in blue and yellow, which is why Stunning Wonder is so cool.
I think Stunning Wonder won non-Continentals.
That's true. Yes, that got her banned.
Yeah, it was the
Back when she was
predecessor.
growing confidence. And she was so good at dilemmas, it was unfair. Where dilemmas just became like free cards in your deck that evacuated themselves out of your hand for free and then are like incidentally point acceleration. It's like, I can't do anything this turn, but I'm going to play a dilemma anyway, just to get a draw.
So, one more match in the Swiss rounds.
We have seen a couple of repeat contenders here on stream. We've seen Pancake twice and Smithers twice. And interestingly, both of them have been 1-1. So it seems like this is a meta that has a lot of froth, where nothing beats everything. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and the power level of all of these decks seem to be somewhat close.
Yeah, especially when we see the same deck win a match and then later on lose a match or vice versa.
Yeah. Now, Smithers, there was one deck that maybe he had a little advantage against, and then one he was a little disadvantaged against. But Pancake won and lost against basically the same deck. So they must have been very closely matched. I will say that that was an aggro game, and so it was probably not nearly as long as some of the other games. So we may not be seeing a new game start for a little bit yet.
Yeah, they should just send us the control matches. Quantity, not quality.
Yes, you get a lot of quantity in a control game, that is for sure. Though the one we've seen was actually a nail biter the whole time. So we can't be too harsh today. It's not typically common during a Swiss rounds to send another game onto the stream. If it was a best of 3 type of game, then somebody could come on for their second game. But here, it's unlikely for them to transplant somebody else up here.
Obviously, we need an Aracat goldfish game. hiss coming in three, two, one.
Maybe the two of us just need to fire up Tabletop Sim and play a quick friendly.
Ivory in chat says it's all about the message three shoe shines at once sends. I remember I once got out like three of the recent Doctor Who's that gives you a move when you put something on top of your deck. That
Oh,
was
sure,
fun.
yeah. They work together fairly well.
I'll put one thing on top of my deck and move everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Confront probably every turn. You can just confront a new problem for free with that.
So how come you were not able to attend this weekend?
Yes, I did want to, and if I had attended, it is very likely I would also be playing a Stunning Wonder deck. Um, but at this time, I have a lot of work-related travel that is preventing me.
Yeah, I opted out just because of COVID fears on the plane. If I could
Sure,
drive it,
yeah,
I'd do it. But three,
that is a hard drive.
it's 3 days, and the days you drive have to be weekdays,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of vacation days for work.
Yes. Yes, I had previously thought I would be traveling this week, so I couldn't make the
Uh,
plans. And then it turns out I am not traveling, so here I am, commentating.
and I have a good friend in Portland that I haven't seen in years, and I'd love to go out there and see her, but
Yeah.
someday. Of course, maybe I'm just being too cautious, but it is what it is.
There's no harm in being cautious. I have been doing a lot of travel recently, and I have been getting a lot of diseases,
Oh no.
COVID and otherwise. It's like, at least what I've heard, and I have some recollection of this, when like your kids go out to school, and then not only are they very likely to get all sorts of, things like colds and stuff, but then the parents too, it's like inevitable. So as soon as people start going back to school for like, just after the summer, everybody gets sick again.
Sure.
Obviously, that has been a different dynamic in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to work from home for pretty much the past couple of years, and I have gotten, just common cold or whatever sick like never. I used to get it like 2 or 3 times a year, and it's
Right,
just
yeah.
gone. And I love not being sick.
Yeah, it's a little sneaky in how it ruins your day, but like it'll typically ruin a couple of your days every year just being sick.
And I am not a good person when I'm sick. I'm just wiped out, and I don't want to do anything, and
Sure, yeah.
I don't even want to look at a computer.
Yeah, I get that.
Good to see Skystar back out there.
Quite a bit of Skystar. I mean, I guess it's all been in the Reanimator style, but even still, we've seen quite a bit of games with that Reanimator style.
Kind of surprised. I mean, we've really only seen Student 6 for Reanimator, but
Right.
I'd kind of like to see it for anything else. Like, I like playing Student 6 with small cost, like, friends that are not in your colors.
Yeah, a bunch of
That
ones
can be
and
fun.
twos where the entry help becomes the bigger deal, and like you can always use it consistently for extra actions. Every turn you're confronting, and so you can always just plop out one or two extra things. We have the plush. We have two plushes.
Exhaust plush for 1AT. Money was paid for a 1AT plush.
I dare not speculate how much.
And what's funny is no one plays with those 1AT little
Yeah,
cardboard
that's true.
circles anymore. But I guess you know what? This is the logo that's on the cards, and
Right, you
our
still see it, so like every player recognizes it.
yeah, and Araket's pretty familiar with the card art nowadays.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh, we get a view of what I think this is showcasing. Yeah, that Zip only had a cutie mark on one side, which
Oh,
is how the new
here we
ponies
go.
work. Ah, yes. The good bug. The good, nice, dark color bug.
I still wanted the series to end with Tyrek and Queen Chrysalis being like a weird family with cozy glow.
Well, they're all rocks now. I'm sorry.
They are indeed. Because I would watch a spin off show with that family.
Yeah, I mean, they were one of the best parts of season 9, for sure. A lot of characters got turned into rocks. I mean, not that many. We got Discord, we got those three, and then also the Storm King was turned into rocks, if
Yes.
I'm not mistaken. Except he was then immediately dropped off a cliff. So the rock thing was sort of unnecessary.
I remember going to see the movie in the theater. I think it was opening night. Good times.
Mod approved from Ivory. Yes, Mod's boyfriend also turned into a rock. I guess there was a chicken that was also turned into a rock.
Our benevolent queen.
Well, I've been calling Thorax
Dumb
dumb
Crayola
Crayola
bug.
bug all day, but unfortunately for Aracat, Chrysalis doesn't see much play, so I'm not sure I can actually use this new title. I'm not saying Chrysalis cards are bad. I'm just saying Chrysalis cards in core are bad.
You know, we've seen pink white. Why not pink white chrysalis?
Yeah, I think Pages might have actually shown us one of those in his
I think you're
deck.
right.
You are not seeing the right match of that.
Oh, is there a good match with a bunch of Chrysalis in it?
There's a mirror match going on right now that you kind of should. Yeah.
Well, dang it. Can you just, like, ruin all your hard work and skew the camera over so that we can watch it?
Or use an elaborate
Maybe
setup
the
of
camera
mirrors.
is like 20 feet away, so no. And Pages is kind of high, so you'll have a hard time reading the board from there.
Arakat, will you cut my oversized staff?
You're not here.
So?
Will you come to Chicago and cut both of our stabs?
I'm just kidding. He already cut my staff.
Dang it. I've actually never gotten mine cut. What is this item? Ah, the cutting apparatus.
Hey!
He's still prepared for it. Every time. He's a trooper. He's here to help.
And for Everfree Northwest, he doesn't have to worry about getting an X-Acto knife through the plane.
Yeah, that's a plus.
At first, I thought that Vice was going to be some kind of gag with Thorax. Set it up so that Queen Chrysalis is turning the Vice on Thorax's foot.
We just put on an elaborate puppet show in the remaining few minutes.
I think we're getting some announcements of their last Swiss match. I wonder if we'll get Cursed Chords today. I think he's playing.
Yeah, that would be a good one. I'm not sure how many players we've missed so far. With 5 matches, I think we've seen 8 distinct people. So probably plenty that haven't yet been on stream.
So eminently, will you be coming to Ciderfest?
When is Ciderfest?
I believe it's in early November, if not the first weekend
Okay.
of November.
Well, I have no idea, but I will be able to drive there, so I won't have to know that much in advance. So that's a plus for sure.
Yeah, last year CIM was able to come out for it, so that was cool.
Oh, nice.
And it's at a different location last year, so I assume that's continuing this year.
I know I did not make it to Winnie City, even though it's in my town, so that's a little embarrassing.
I was there. I got
Do we know
first
any?
place in Harmony and last place in Core.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. What were you playing?
Harmony was Premier Twilight Farm.
Ooh, that is a fun deck.
I had never played it before, but people have played it against me, and it was a sad time, and I wanted to experience that.
Well, I guess it worked. Yeah, she is very powerful. Typically, she's played friendless. Were you the same?
Yes. There was one I thought about playing. It was I think it's a spike that. I think it's Grabby Claws that takes opponents'
Hmm.
cards that flip. Because I was thinking that could be fun, but I didn't.
Okay. Is that Spike purple? Or is he?
It is.
Okay. I mean, I guess he must be to make it into your mono purple deck. But
It's
yeah, it's so tough to put a single friend in because like, you're gonna go up against people
because
and
I'd
they've got
flip
like,
it, and it's a one flip.
yeah, that's also very terrible. But like, the people have been holding all of their friend removal the whole game, and you've never played any friends because you have almost none in your deck. And the moment Grabby Claws comes out, the guy's like, finally, I can use this belly flop.
I'm gonna use two belly flops on him.
Yeah, why not?
So when... Oh, Spike is also during a face-off here, so you'd have to move him. When an opponent
Yeah, it's
flips a
kind of
card
tough.
during a face-off here, if that card is higher power than this card, banish that opponent's card to beneath this card.
Because like when my brother played Mono Twilight Farm, the card that he usually considered was Ursa Vanquisher, and she flips for 4, so the flip isn't even really the problem. It's just like having a single friend ends up being a liability.
Yeah.
It's just really convenient to have exactly 0 of them.
I was happy to include Cool Mares as my starting problem.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty snazzy. The thing about that Twilight deck is if your opponent is playing purple, you're like probably gonna get destroyed. Because
Yeah.
like all they need to do is move you once a turn, every turn, for the rest of the game, and you don't get to play the game. But recently, purple hasn't seen all that much play. Let's see, how much purple have we seen so far today? So we've got a big
We
one
saw
in
Diamond
Diamond
Song.
playing only purple, yeah. So that, I mean, is a lot. We haven't even seen any other mono decks. So that was a big purple showing.
At one point, you thought someone might be playing Fire of Friendship or Motivational as purple, but the resource didn't stay out there long enough for us to see anything with whatever color was picked, played
Yeah,
with.
so that
So,
would be for the Discord, I think, was probably why somebody might have done that because we've seen
oh yeah,
some of that
Discord is pink
that
purple.
Discord. I think that might be the only purple card in that deck. Certainly worth it.
Yeah, I think Bugle said it had 5 colors. Or Grandpa said one of the two.
They also play Mysterious Disappearance, but that's not typically actually played.
Sounds like a matchup's being announced. I wonder if anyone dropped out after getting their promos. Sometimes people would do that at Continentals.
Yeah, especially when it's a con where there's so much else going on. Some people are just like, for example, booked after lunch. It certainly happens. That would be. I'm gonna guess that this is cursed. I'm just guessing because of the prominent Celestia. That's all I'm going on.
You win.
Man, I am just not guessing hot streak today. All right. So, Animoy, did you have any ideas of what Cursed might be bringing? Obviously, we'll know soon, but
I was not going to say Thorax.
yeah, I think we were talking about maybe Royal Tutor because he's built a lot with it, but, all right. All right. Crayola Bug of Dumbness. Look, I respect that. You see the way the wind is blowing, and the wind is blowing towards aggro is the best. And you follow that wind.
So you remember why
I hope this is like farm or something though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, Thorax is not a bad farm deck.
Yeah, I remember there was one on LineCon where you and I both played different kinds of Thorax farm when no one was expecting it. This was obviously before final question. And
Yeah, there are some reasons why you just kind of have to play blue now. One thing I want to say is this playmat on the right, I've also never seen, and it is awesome.
oh yeah, look at that.
Everything else though, like I played yesterday, so
Right.
I have Thorax is the only thing I have baked.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. 1 second.
All right, so I see Grogar, and I see some other orange stuff. Now, I know that there have been some kind of farm control style decks that use that apple bloom, and Grogar certainly works with that. I also see a lot of cards that do imply that this could be mono orange.
The voice on the right sounds familiar, but I don't know who it is.
I'm just stupid.
Yeah, I'm also not totally confident.
I will get that out now. Well, my name has my old. I'm gonna put this badge.
Ah,
Ah.
the terror of cards.
My
The Destroyer.
what do I sideboard?
I remember I was leaving BronyCon one afternoon and I got caught in the worst downpour and a bunch of my trade binder got all wet.
Oh no. Were they okay?
Well, yeah, I guess you could have like ironed them or something, but honestly, it was like cards like Pearl of Transformation and stuff that no one wanted from me
Okay.
anyway.
I'm not gonna buy back in.
Well, fair enough, but that's still a bummer. Even though this happened in the unspecified past, I'm still sad about it.
Print and play.
But I also sold all my cards, so I don't have anything.
On the right, from what I'm seeing, I'm wondering if Applejack Work Hard Play Hard would have been a good main.
I use it very little, so I'm just gonna take it out.
Definitely, we see a lot of decks that are similar to this that use that Applejack. Now, the Applejack does a lot in the mid game.
That card
But-
excited me so much when it came out or when it was announced.
Yeah, she's really good. She's one of the more exciting cards from that set of mains, but she didn't get much play at all the set she came out because there just wasn't enough exhaustion support.
Or Orange Event support.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that 3-cost Orange Event from Sequestria.
Yeah, stuff like Sponge Cake Break is
Yeah.
not enough. But now that we've got Princess Combo Meal and Melted Expectations, the Applejack is pretty darn usable. But what I will say is that Applejack requires you to devote, somewhere between 6 to 12 cards, kind of specifically to enter her. Now, she's good, so that's not a big deal, and like exhaustion effects are good too. But it is asking for something, and if Feathers is thinking, I've got a very specific game plan, and I want to build my deck around doing one thing, and I don't want my main to get in the way, Grogar is great, because Grogar, this is a mono orange deck, and on turn 0, she's got 4 orange. She can enter her entire board. Color is basically just not a thing for Feathers. If she sees a card, she can play that card. And that's pretty nice.
I think that I cannot keep this.
I am gonna keep this.
She did not want that, which is sad because it had a pirate chip turn 1 with Grogar is
Oh, yeah.
pretty snazzy.
It's so hard to know what to keep because I don't know what any of the last 4 sets do.
Right.
So I just have to.
I wish I could put Pirate Ship in more of my decks, but it's...
Pirate chip is great, but the problem is it's worse than a lot of like specific movement events or cards.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing like a blue or yellow deck, Pirate Ship is probably not worth it. But if you're playing a deck outside of blue and yellow that needs to move, in particular orange decks, then it can be tons of value. I think I could also see it in like purple decks. Like purple still aggro, like the type of thing Diamond Song was running. Now it's not necessary in a deck like that, but it's a reasonable inclusion.
I think I saw a same day delivery in Feather's hand.
Whoa.
Because I get to draw a card.
You gotta draw a card, yeah.
Oh, it's so much.
I do not yet understand why that might be. Does that work well with Tempest? I don't think so.
Use my little tiny baby brain.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I saw it that time.
Okay. Well, then I'll stop
Yep.
puzzling about
Yeah,
that
I'm
one.
totally wrong. That's an orange event.
You have the advantage of surprise. And I think that's it for me. I'll bank one.
I see a letdown hard. So Feathers, it's a zero coster. So Feathers could play that whenever she wants from now until the end of time. She could have done it now, decided, no need, it's not a rush. That one allows her to take a friend from her deck and put it into her discard, which is like kind of weird, but there are certain cards that are good from the discard. There's a card that lets you get an extra flip from the discard, and there's a card that makes your main bigger, I think. That might not be legal in core, though.
Prism points out Feathers has new overlords.
Oh, yes. That one has not been anywhere today. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully we'll
This
actually
was
see
already
it in play.
played. Yeah, that must be it right there. Thorax boosts.
This is a Thorax Purple, actually, apparently. So, Thorax Purple has a storied history. Bugle played Thorax Purple before in the Invitational, which, incidentally, Cursed Chords runs. But, like we were talking about...
Oh, that's Nightmare Moon.
That's a good one. Curse Chords will have to discard some cards end of next turn because of it. But like we were saying, blue is so important in aggro decks that playing Thorax Purple, like, you can make it work, but you have to work uphill constantly to make it worth it because you don't get Final Question.
Yeah.
Do I want to do that? I don't think so. I'm gonna bank two.
All right, Feathers is not going for the face-off here. So she could have gone up to Buckball and confronted, but she would have been down by 2 in that face-off. Now, I guess that is a 0-pointer, so it doesn't matter too much. But she decided she didn't want to push Cursed back just yet. It wasn't worth the 2 actions, which is pretty reasonable. There are pros and cons each way.
And thankfully, Thorax doesn't have Diligent or Prepared.
Yes. Yeah, so either way you do it is probably going to be okay. Thorax is definitely not punishing you for being aggressive, but he is going to win a lot of face-offs because he can get so big.
There are some yellow-purple cards I like. There's that Twilight and Fluttershy that can make
Yes.
tokens.
And Meticulous 2 is a rarity, and it's a good ability.
I'm so sad to not see Meticulous anymore. It was so much a part of when I started playing this game.
It is really powerful, and I think our developers have realized that, and so it's a bit more laid back in how much Meticulous is just sprinkled around every single purple card.
I mean, for me, Meticulous was so good when you had a lot of different color entry in your deck, and it stinks to keep drawing color entry when your entry's already established.
Yeah, it was very good for making wonkier decks work better, which is super fun. But at high levels of play, that means it's just like really, really good for combo, which is a little unfortunate.
Yeah.
Certainly, I was a purple main for like quite a while in my earlier days. I loved playing purple control. And cover to cover was obviously one of the staples of that style of deck. Um, cover to cover was both meticulous and prepared. She was just OP as heck, but the meticulous is much more meaningful and was like a. It really changed how you thought about deck building when you could bank on having meticulous in your deck.
I heard you complaining about that.
Yeah, I miss them.
Main phase.
Yeah.
I'll pay 1 for.
You know what card we haven't seen in a while is Daybreaker.
No worries.
Choose a troublemaker.
That's true. Yeah, the deck that would be running it would be the blue farm. It's a bit challenging to actually use Daybreaker in blue related aggro, but
I think
I don't
Rutherford has
think.
taken its place.
Yeah, Daybreaker is pretty good, but she's a little finicky, which is surprising to say because, like, she's just a point accelerator. It's not that
She can
complicated.
be
But
frightened.
yeah, and she only flips for 3, which is like not amazing. And it's not super easy for her to be in multiple face-offs. So,
Yeah.
often you're only gonna get 1 point from her. Now, there are certain decks that use Daybreaker really, really well. Um, I just think that Pancake's deck is not specifically designed for that type of thing. And so something like Pony Pirate was just a better fit, I guess. Rarity Pony Pirate specifically. I know that there are a lot of Pony Pirates.
One of the only twos. How much do you have?
I have 12 total.
12, 4, 5, 6. Alright. First, I will let down hard.
All right, so Cursed has 12 strength in some face off. I'm actually not exactly sure what the face off is because I think it's we definitely entered the main phase.
I will win this face off.
I have no doubt about it.
And Feathers plays the card that lets you put a card, a friend into your discard pile, which Reanimator loves.
Right. I'm guessing it's for that very buffalo that's going to give her an extra flip. That's so weird. So she played
Ah.
Let Down Hard to get a buffalo, and her 2 flips so far have been Let Down Hard and a buffalo. Wow, that's a lot of flips. And Cursed Chords. Oh my goodness. I'm realizing now. At the bottom of Cursed Chords deck is now 2 Unsatisfactory Works and 1 Defend the Hive. That is so painful. Those are some of the best cards in yellow.
And that card was called Big Hoof.
Ah, Big Hoof. That's the buffalo?
Yep, from the latest set.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. And it may be the exact reason why Let Down Hard is in the deck, is to trigger Big Hoof. And it's not bad. It's pretty cool.
The price is right.
Yeah. A 0 cost immediate event for a flip, basically. And it culls your deck a little, which is not bad. Okay, so I now understand what the phase timing of that face-off was. Cursed Chords had ended his turn, and at the start of Feather's turn, we had a face-off for that troublemaker. Which makes sense. Now, Feathers is doing Catajack, which is just the best. It is a chef's kiss response to seeing Raptor raise.
Yeah.
So I was really quite happy about Cursed Chord's game state. And then everything went wrong all at once. This has actually been a really bad turn.
And he has 4 cards in his hand because of the troublemaker.
Wow. I mean, so, like, this is totally recoverable as far as a board state situation. But when I just think about the 2 unsatisfactory works and the 1 um, defend the hive that's at the bottom of his deck, is that just hurts so bad.
And yep, that's it. End of turn.
Okay. 4T or 3?
3.
3T to 4.
All right, so the new problem is going to prevent Cursed from exhausting resources. Not a big deal.
Now we do have a dilemma for Cursed Chords, so
I will pay 2 to rally
that could help.
And 2 to play another Twilight. We'll move Applejack home.
Or is he going to try to farm it?
Alright. I will gain 3 up to 4.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he's just trying to build up purple entry. Because, you know, purple, you don't see much of it in the modern meta, but it's good against farm, and Feathers is playing farm. So if Cursed can get some entry, then he can play some move events, and he can stop a farm or 2 from happening, which is exactly what he will need to stabilize.
Feathers has 2 desert roads in her hand. That's not great.
Yeah, I mean, now it's not bad to play right after a board wipe because it'll, slow Cursed down a bit. But against the purple and yellow, resource removal is probably plentiful.
Sorry, it's just moving opposed. Okay, enters play. Alright, well, I'm gonna do.
Prism, he's kind of our resident card spotter here, mentioned seeing a copy of a Daybreaker in one of the blue-yellow decks that might have gotten boarded out, which is interesting. I know I've seen that now and again, but it's fairly uncommon just because like Bunyip is such a more natural choice. Like I definitely would have liked to see it get played, but I'm also not too surprised that it was boarded out. It might be like specifically to counter a certain type of deck.
Okay. 3T.
Yeah, mono blue decks were a thing for a while, but not really anymore.
I'm thinking very hard.
Yeah, I think they're good because blue is good, but it's just better to match blue with yellow or with pink, depending on what your playstyle is.
Is it Cursed Chord's turn right now?
I think it may be. I believe we're just seeing some thinking. So I was looking at that big hoof. Oh wow. Is Cursed actually going to challenge this troublemaker? Very interesting. He's got to have some trick up his sleeve. Okay, he was outflipped by 2. Kind of a bummer. I'm wondering if maybe he was just like, it's kind of a Hail Mary to see if he gets a really big flip, and if he does, then he would back it up with something.
Yeah, he does have a Defend the Hive.
Small.
Oh, yeah. That would be it then. If he happened to be within 5 after the flip, which certainly possible, but not the most likely case against a farm, then that would be pretty good. Also, it's fair low risk because, like, that Twilight wasn't doing that much anyway.
I'm going to pay 2 to move Thorax. And then 1 for another Bunyip.
All right, so Bunyip is good for this. It's kind of a slow and steady game plan. We're just scoring a little quick. 2 points in a turn is not bad at all. If Cursed had doubled, it only would have been 3 points, So 2 points in a turn, not bad, but he doesn't have to worry about that troublemaker yet. It's just like a nice and straightforward
It's
pay
the
a few to score a
triad.
few. Oh, it is? I didn't see it from the glare. All right, exciting.
Courage counter. Without courage is nothing.
So the thing about this is Big Hoof is actually maybe enough to challenge the Triad, um, all on its own. Just because the way that Big Hoof works, it's good from the discard, but it can put itself into the discard to flip a card. So if Feathers takes that fight, which she'll have to wait a turn before she can take that fight, but if she does, then she can flip 3 cards. She'll be bringing no strength, but flipping 3 cards against Cursed Cord flipping 1. It's not bad. And now she's actually going to move Grogar, so that's pretty reasonable.
And I think you have AT banked?
I have no AT bank.
Okay, I'm gonna bank 2.
So now, if Cursed Cords doesn't beat the Triad, then
Right. Courage counter.
Feathers probably will be able to. However, it's not that challenging for Cursed to beat it. He just needs kind of good luck on the flip. Because Cursed is bringing 6 strength right now, and the Triad is 7.
Yeah, that's a very tempting to farm that.
I mean,
Unless Feathers has some exhaustion tricks.
well, she'll probably use the Big Hoof, because the Big Hoof actually has no restrictions on when you can use it. But there's no reason for Cursed not to try. I mean, he's got that frightened Bunyip. It's not a big deal if he has to move that home, you know?
Don't think I can do that.
Yeah, that, and he could bring up something with Defend the Hive, although it wouldn't be a lot.
Yeah, it'd be a bit underwhelming, but if that's the difference to get 3 points, I mean, you go for it.
For another Raptor Racer.
I have to read it again.
Does
All right.
not challenge.
That's interesting. I'm honestly a little surprised, just because the downside feels so low. He could be worried about chaotic effects, maybe. Just like he wants to lower the number of flips in the game. Or maybe he's really hoping to use that Bunyip later. I'm not sure.
I think I might have played a dilemma and tried to get the Raptor Razor on it.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
Over to you.
He definitely has a
But
dilemma. He
it's,
could have tried that.
I mean, you can't double confront now with the Triad out there.
Right. And single confronting is just kind of opening yourself up to the farm taking the single face off. So this way, Cursed at least is bringing a credible threat to farming both
Yes.
of the troublemakers.
So this is my banished pile. I'm just gonna leave it on the playmat so people know that it's
However, I'm not sure that Cursed has a way to prevent Feathers from farming this Triad, and that's worrisome.
Courage counter.
yeah, it's going on Grokar. I'll just put this.
Legion sounds good.
Okay.
All right, so this fight definitely happening. We all knew it would.
Fight, fight, fight.
Oh no, she's already winning. That's so. Oh man, farm is farm is disappointing to play against. Feathers was bringing like an extra like 10 strength if she needed it, and she didn't need any of it. I say 10 strength because her flip average is probably around 5, and she had 2 extra flips that she could spend, but now she can use them later. That Bighorn is going to be usable for the rest of the game. He's not location restricted. He doesn't have to be involved in the face-off. He's just 2 extra flips that Feathers can take whenever.
Yeah,
He's very good.
Playing against Orange can be annoying like that when they start doing face-off tricks and you're just like, I don't want to do anything now because you'll do a face-off trick.
Yeah.
GP.
Yeah, the thing is that, you sacrifice a little bit in terms of like flexibility in order to play a mono orange farm. You're pulling from a smaller card pool. But you get just this free money in that, like, she outflipped Cursed by 5. She didn't have to pay any actions for that. It's just in her deck. It's like she brought 5 extra strength to that face-off just for free. And she gets benefits like that every single face-off, It it's a benefit that really just builds up over time, and it can be really wearying for the opponent, where it's like you do all these calculations and you think both players are on even footing, and then you remember, oh yeah, my opponent just gets a bunch of free strength every face-off. Now, will it be enough? No. I think Cursed Chords is still going to win this face-off. We we need to count it out, but
I will.
all right, Feathers is. It looks like she might be going for it.
Retire this card to flip a card.
There goes Big Hoof.
Oh, oh no! And that is what we were talking about this whole time.
I see one
Orange
chaos.
is good. Yeah, so it was a power play, which gives you another flip, into another power play, which gave her another flip.
I didn't
So-
see. I can't see the second one.
Yeah, so she
Oh,
won
and a
by
triad
lot.
flip.
A 5 into a 5 into a 7.
You've made your point. That's enough.
Yes.
If I beat you by 10, do I get a prize?
And I don't think I have anything to do in the wrap-up.
Wow, and she only used one of her extra flips there, so she's still got another just in the barrel, ready to go. It's pretty intimidating.
Hoof in the discard.
40.
What did I play here? Yes. Okay.
All right, let's see if we're gonna fight Nightmare Moon.
Now the risk is really quite low because if he loses, he moves one token home, and he even has home limit for it, the token. So it's not that big a deal. He's up by 2. You know, if he flips an event, or a resource, he could definitely win that.
And I think he has a Defend the Hive for Thorax.
Oh yeah, well that would do it for sure. And the nice thing about that is it then makes Thorax agile, so he can just double face off using
Yes.
the agile Thorax. Oh wow, I think they're tied.
Oh, here goes Big Hoof.
But because of that, he's only down by 5 now, so Defend the Hive will easily make it work.
There it
That's
is.
a good turn. This is going to be good. I mean, that's, what, 5 points for Cursed Courts this turn and a board reset? It's pretty solid.
23, 28.
I'm at 18.
28 to 18. I mean, these are big numbers for just a troublemaker face-off.
Think I should do that.
Dumb Crayola Pony says, I can fight you, Orange.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention a while back there was a tournament where we both played Thorax Farm. This is why. It's almost specifically about Raptor Razor. Thorax plus Raptor Razor is a farming dream. Also, Defend the Hive in a farm deck is unfair. It's great.
Yeah,
Now, of
sometimes
course.
I'll put 2 Defend the Hives on my deck, and then when I play, I'm like, I wish I put 3.
I need 5 of these.
Yeah.
Spend 1? For Growling Critters? Wait, why did I do that?
I don't know. There's nothing here. You just go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Cursed was considering putting down a dilemma, but I think he realized it just wasn't necessary. He can just
The name out loud. But
DFO here anyway.
Scoreface.
yes.
Confront Buckball strategy.
And as far as, typical rules go, that wasn't even take backsies because he hadn't really let go of the card.
Spend 2 to move him over there.
Oh, and he uses the Changeling Agile, like you said.
Yes. It's really, really good.
9 points.
All yours.
Okay, 1 bonus.
Wow, the funny thing is, so this isn't quite true because Feathers was considering playing a face-off trick, but if we think about it,
Don't forget.
all of the non-thorax power that was at that problem, it was 9. And Cursed Chords won that face-off by 10. So basically, Thorax just did all of the work for that whole DFO. So a farm, 2 confronts, and winning the DFO was all done on the back of one dumb Crayola bug and one defend the hive. That's how good that combination is.
Mhm.
Someone's doing illegal things.
It's Bugle, obviously.
It's either Big Cheese or Bugle.
Now, the last time Cursed played a Raptor Razor, it was responded to with the Catajack, which is still on Feather's board. And this time, the Raptor Razor actually got to work. So that's what Raptor Razor is supposed to do. Now, the downside here is, as we see, Cursed had to retire to home limit. The Thorax is down all the way to a piddly 8 strength. It's tragic. And because we have already seen 2 Raptor Razors, it's fairly unlikely we'll see any more this game. So from here on, Cursed Chords is going to have to go from 10 to 15 honest ways without using a giant explosion of raptors.
And if it's still there, lacking lesson plans is a good problem for Cursed to have.
Yeah, that's true. If he just sets his sights low for a couple of turns, builds up some actions, if that's what he decides is the right course of action here, like, that's a pretty safe strategy. And this turn, it looks like Feathers might not have enough actions to do any big plays, besides maybe, try for a farm, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Oh, no, I think I miscounted how many actions she has. She still has 6 actions. She can make some
And a
big plays.
Catajack.
Oh, gosh. Now, it's not as good here, but it's still pretty good.
I wish I drew this before I played my troublemaker.
Oh.
It's
Oh, I don't think Feathers knows that Catajack doesn't affect face down troublemakers.
Yeah, it seems like she's worried she would have to retire one. Hopefully, what's going to happen here is she'll decide to do it anyway, and then it will actually become a rules question that we can tell her about.
Oh,
And then she'll keep them both.
I bet I'm sure Cursed knows it too. So
Yeah. Okay, she actually did know.
yeah,
All is good. Maybe she just wouldn't have wanted to play that troublemaker because, like, she would have used the action for something else.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, obviously, the Catajack would have been better before Cursed did, his magic Christmas time turn. But, like, taking Thorax down from 8 to 4 is so good. Now, Cursed still has purple entry, so that's not, it's not really a color lock. But there are some, like, 3 rec purple cards that are really good that might be in Cursed deck that he's going to have to, do a little more work in order to actually get to.
You're at 8 points?
All right. Cursed just asked to confirm that Feathers has 8 points. So right now the score is Feathers at 8 and Cursed at 10. Pretty close, but it's Cursed turn. So he might, be able to push that number up a bit.
one for Brian, one for Dumb Crayola Bug.
Oh, so basically you can save a friend?
Not all the time.
Not all the time, but you can save a friend and you can dismiss a resource.
Yeah, once again, he's going through the long process of rebuilding strength on his bug.
Sorry, I have to read all the cards.
All right.
Oh,
So,
Royal Guard.
Guards is a good one. Now, it's a bit late in the game for it, but that's okay. Oh, 2 of them. That's good. It's not too late for 2 of them.
I get a token of both of them.
Is spicy.
Wow. I mean, so the downside here is that Thorax didn't get to move this turn because Curse didn't have enough actions. However, Thorax is now very big again.
Oh, that's right. It puts in token copies of Pegasus Royal Guard.
Yeah, I cannot really make out what Cursed token is there.
It might just
Looks
say
very strange.
friend token. I don't know. One of them's like a troublemaker token.
Yeah, it looks like a Discord picture, but I can't really see what it is.
Anyway, I bet Feathers wishes they still had another Catajack.
Then I will fight this one.
Yeah, Just more Catajacks. Oh wow, there's the third royal card.
Oh no, he flipped it.
Wow. I think that was Cockatrice Migration, which is one of the
Yeah,
very few
it was.
two-sized events in this world. So that's, you see an event and you're like, oh, that's a good flip. And then you realize it's Cockatrice Migration, and then you lose the face-off.
Yeah, events have been getting lower flips lately in the past couple sets.
Yeah, it used to be one of those things where it's just like events are always higher regardless of how overpowered the event is. But now it seems like it's more a tool that the developers use to balance cards. Like, sometimes you don't always need that as an additional balance tool, but it's like if we've got a really good event, maybe just make it flip for 3.
Required diligent trigger for Catajack?
How much power do you have here?
Are those required?
Yeah,
Interesting.
diligence required.
9. So 6 versus 9. So I'll just assume that
I think.
So I can draw. I can draw one time, I think.
Yep, diligence required.
Well, I mean, this time they remembered it anyway. But I might have forgotten because it's certainly not the most important thing on Catajack.
Pay to draw one.
Now, would Feathers want to do anything with that Grogar?
Hmm. I mean, keeping it as Grogar is not bad, but I mean,
I'd almost
probably
like to get
just
something at the other problem, because that problem just does nothing.
exactly. Well, specifically, you would just bring probably another Grogar to that problem next turn. Um,
I mean, the bones
but
are only one.
so that would be my instinct is, you want to frighten the other side. But the thing is, if you get rid of the troublemaker there, well, no, the troublemaker
It's
isn't
lacking
doing anything
lesson
at all.
plans,
Yeah.
so
Mm. Well, so Cursed is very like double next turn. So it doesn't really matter
Oh, sorry, stream.
what you put, because like
It's rough.
Cursed, everything's gonna be at home next turn.
Going to.
So you definitely want to put something else just to protect the Grogar, because that Grogar is blown away by the double face-off. So it's better just to pull something else. And in order to keep it safe, I would probably recommend just another Grogar, maybe even at the same place. So basically, you're just paying 0 actions to turn Grogar face down. But that's a safer place for him to be right now.
I do.
No, but who?
Oh, who has the most power?
Is it just
A tie
a bunch
between
of-
all the guards.
Just all the twos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not really bad, is it?
it's a very interesting game. I'm enjoying it.
Do it by yourself, I guess.
Often you can.
It is quite different than all the other games we've seen. We haven't seen a lot of orange or purple, actually.
I think I'm giving the Johnny of the Day award to that Big Hoof deck.
Okay.
We're gonna go into a face-off.
Yeah, Big Hoof, pretty cool. Like, quite strong. There have been some cards that, like, do that type of thing where you can banish from discard, and they've always been okay, but Big Hoof actually makes a big difference.
You're not going to flip a power play, I know that.
I know.
And second place Johnny Tech, I'm going to give to the Vexine friend with Tender Taps.
Yeah, that. So, Smithers was, I think it was Smithers, was able to break through that quickly enough, and it came late enough in that game that it didn't end up being like game defining. But looking at that, it is so intimidating. That that vexing tech is really hard to break through.
All finished?
Yeah, I don't think I can do anything else.
And we
All
go
right,
to
so
Cursed's turn.
She has left the Grogar at lacking lesson plans, which, yeah, a bit rough to do that. However, she did win that face-off, which is pretty good. So that put her at maybe up to 10, I think. Ah, yes, and a non-optional diligent trigger.
Nobody's probably looking. I'm just gonna lose.
Thankfully for Feathers, Pegasus Royal Guard isn't great for farming, but
Yeah, the momentum on it is they typically come in just before the score phase.
yeah, kind of like white power boosts.
Yeah. So really good when there's a clear board, which,
So is it you?
despite appearances, this is a clear board of troublemakers.
Yes.
So it's really good for a situation like this, but it's not good to farm.
This is not as easy as you may think it is.
I know, because you only have 3 cards on 5 AT.
Yeah, and everybody's watching.
That too. I mean, it makes me nervous too.
All right, so I think it's fairly likely that Cursed Chords is able to double face off here. It's really just a question of how efficient can he make it, and slash or how much other things can he accomplish. Now, I don't think he needs to do much else because he's got Pegasus Royal Guards on the board, and those are great. So, like, probably it's going to be move Thorax to the bigger problem and come up with some way to confront the smaller problem.
Yeah, Pegasus Royal Guard wants a third friend to enter play to kick off.
Yeah, which honestly, I'm not sure is necessary here.
Yeah, I don't think he can get 3 friends out with 5 AT. And
Unless he does some token related shenanigans. But I think it's fine if he doesn't end up doing that. All right, he paid to draw. What is that card? It looks like it might
it's
be
the it's the prepared entry for
Yeah.
purple. I think it might be 3 AT to play that.
Isn't that one? I think it's Sunburst's mom, which is a 2 for 2.
Put that once.
I'm gonna go look.
I have a couple of outs. I think. Maybe.
I wouldn't know what they are, so.
One more.
All right. Well, Cursed Chords just paid to draw into a unsatisfactory work.
It is Stellar Flare, and you are correct. It is 2 power, 2 cost.
Okay. So Cursed just got an unsatisfactory work, which is pretty solid. It does make me remember, sadly, those 2 that he flipped. So if that hadn't happened, maybe he'd have a lot more unsatisfactory works. But hitting that Catajack with an unsatisfactory work, it's such a mixed blessing. Like, it's great that turn, but it's bad for the next turn because Feathers will play a Catajack. And Catajack is just really bad for Thorax. However, for like the last turn of the game,
So then is it my turn and then
like it'd be worth it. Based on what I just heard, we might be in hard time already. Well, not we're in soft time. And so this is the last turn, which means this is the perfect opportunity to play unsatisfactory work because the Catajack is not going to come back down.
Not at immediate speed.
do you have AT?
I can't quite tell, but Feathers at 14 points?
I don't think so. I think she's more like 10 or 11. Unless I missed her farming once. Which is always possible, sneaking in a farm that I didn't notice. However, Cursed is only at 11.
Yeah, that does it. I mean, you've already won, but
There we go.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
14.
so-
I wasn't sure. 'Cause I
Oh,
didn't know
really?
if yellow just
I could
missed
unsad
those.
Applejack.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, she definitely wins because of the time,
Yeah.
regardless of
Yeah.
where she was score-wise.
Yeah, if I could have
Cursed ended up at 11, which is pretty good. I'm honestly surprised at the fact that this game ended up going into the time limit area. I thought it would be a quicker game, but a lot of...
It's possible that was the regular time, but
like it was there.
I guess that's true. It might have been just a warning that soft time was coming up.
If I had a one cost.
but yeah, I actually enjoyed that match. That was cool.
I had like 2 rainbow lasers.
Yeah,
And all.
so farm is strong. Always farm is pretty good. But
What this did.
Here we get to see Orange Farm, which is less in vogue recently. But we get to see what it's historically always been good at, which is flipping absurdly high and using its main character. Blue Farm uses a lot of resources. Orange Farm typically doesn't need them.
Board wipes for a long time, so he's adapted to some extent.
Orange Farm is just ready to farm almost immediately.
That was
Yeah,
good.
I was like, I wasn't sure if I should be making you.
So I think that's going to about do it for Swiss rounds.
Right? That was 6.
I guess we can hang on and maybe see if they come out with a standing.
But I can definitely see how this would be a huge headache.
And a little over 3 hours from now, we'll have the top cuts.
It's just the fact that you can be like 10 down or whatever and still have a chance at winning those face-offs.
Yeah.
That's why you fear Orange Farm.
Cursed Chords lamenting Orange's ridiculous flip, which we were also doing.
I've been there, Cursed. I've been there.
Lucky with the double chaos though.
I've certainly more times been on the other side of the farming matchup. I don't personally farm all that much, but I'm definitely used to getting outflipped and it being distressing.
Prism confirms that Stellar Flare was 2.
I don't know, what time is it?
Like 4. We got plenty of time before then. Like
What time
hours,
does the
like
vendor
hours
hall
before then.
close?
Huh?
What time is it? Oh, because this was the last round?
This was the
This
last
is the
round.
last round, but they scheduled 7.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'll play. I want to go to the vendor hall and stuff, so.
Okay.
As long as I have time to do that, I'll play it, I guess.
Best of luck with it then.
Yeah, it's been fun coming back. Like, I feel a lot lighter because I didn't put this together myself,
Right.
and like I know that everyone else likes to build decks, so I don't feel bad about telling them to build me a deck.
That's true.
I don't have like the same pressure. I think where I was like super tryharding. I think it's like refreshing to not know what everyone has because it felt kind of like repetitive. Like
Well, I hope everybody makes the top cut, but
you know.
we'll see if that's possible.
But the mystery is kind of exciting.
Yeah, I see that they have like a top 16 / top 8. So they're hoping to do a 16 cut, but I'm not sure if
Ah,
we will be.
Don't think you've got anything to worry about in that deck getting banned anytime soon.
It seems pretty like it's definitely not as terrible as Applejack.
Yeah. That's never happening again.
It was fun while it lasted.
We've had a little more time without us talking because these two have been talking. So I hope the listeners are able to hear that. But
yep,
I've been enjoying their banter.
that is piped in, and always nice to see players be so gracious towards each other.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. Good to know.
I'll pass it on to somebody or something if they let me.
All right, I hear announcements incoming.
Okay, stream. Here's our standings.
Can you see those? I can't see
No.
those.
So the cut line here is going to be feathers. Sorry, Cursive.
It's alright.
Okay,
I prefer to watch.
so it looks like we've got an 8 cut.
There we go.
Grand Pause is dropping.
Oh, wow. I wonder why Grand Pause is dropping.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We also get to see actual performance rates here.
Feathers would prefer to play, and GP is ducking out to give me a break.
Oh, that's kind of cool. So it's actually just so that, Feathers can play.
Ah,
Grandpa's is certainly able to judge and has, had enough tournament success.
but what if Feathers wanted to be on the Salt Cup?
Now, Feathers seems to be having quite a bit of fun here, so he's like, cool.
Good.
Let's see. As per usual, we'll be doing a cut top 8, and I'll set up a bracket. Basically, it's going to be Carry versus Feathers, Instagram versus Pancake, Max versus Smithers, and then Bugle versus Big Cheese. So if you've got a preference on which one of those you want to see, cast your votes.
Yes, everybody in the comments, please let us know. I'm gonna now also brainstorm about it.
There were no ties today. That disappoints me.
I know, right?
I'm just glad to see there was no one undefeated, but actually, like the number of losses is pretty high. Like the winners are not super concentrated. Two people going 5-1 and no one going 6-0 is a pretty even looking field.
And with Pages and Bugle playing this similar deck, either of them could have been 5-1 and 4-2.
True. Yeah, so Pages and Bugle were similar, and then Big Cheese and Grandpa's were similar. Both of those groups made it into Top Cut. The only Big Cheese is actually opting to play.
Smithers had the worst opponent win rate.
Interesting.
Felt like you were going uphill, Smithers. It was because you were. Also, Decora Fluff is a great name.
That's true. I will cast my vote that Decora Fluff is a good name. All right, let's just run through these to fill a little bit of time because we can. So we've got the first versus 8 would be Reanimator versus Farm. That'd be pretty fun to watch. Then Instagram is playing Stunning Wonder, and Pancake is playing kind of Farm Aggro. That would actually be pretty cool to watch as well.
Oh,
Then
no, wait, isn't it Pages versus Feathers? And,
yeah,
and
but
Instagram versus Sea Pancake?
yeah, isn't Pages playing Reanimator? Am I just confused?
Yes, Pages is playing Reanimator.
Yeah, so it would be Reanimator versus Farm, where Feathers is the farm, or then it would be Instagram versus Feathers, which is Stunning Wonder.
Feathers is playing a Catajack deck. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fair enough. It does also flip like a truck, but yeah, Catajack was the star there. I will agree. All right, Max was playing. Oh, Max was playing Cadence Blue,
Yes,
and Smithers was playing
Thorax.
Crayola Bug. Yeah. So that would be a really quick match. Maybe we can watch that one and then still watch somebody else's.
You know, I kind of want to see Bugle versus Big Cheese, because that would be Chaos Control versus Reanimator.
That's true. We have been kind of wondering how that would go. Now, if there are any people who don't like really thinky, everything explodes, big power swing matches that like not much happens and there's a lot of thought involved, maybe those people wouldn't enjoy that. But I know personally, I would love that.
It's always quantity over quality, remember?
People are cheering, and I too am happy, but I don't know what they're cheering about. All right, so your vote is for Bugle versus Big Cheese?
Yes.
I think
What
my
say
vote.
chat?
I think my vote is Max versus Smithers. I think chat has not given us any votes yet. Whoa, Max versus Minutes.
So now everybody gets to see each other's decks now, right?
Yes. So, including having a break like eat dinner and stuff, people are going to actually have quite a bit of time to study deck lists here. And also, as sometimes happens, study the bracket and make guesses about who you'll be going up against after your first match. So, a lot of gaming the system can happen here. And here is when people can start to make really informed guesses about who might win the whole tournament.
So, what is the format of the top 8 rounds for the viewers?
Ooh, I am not sure. It is certainly elimination.
Is it
Lately, we've been doing a lot of single elimination, but we've blocked
Yes.
off a lot of time.
So this is going to be single elimination, best of 3, with a 2-hour per match time limit. So games are unlimited, but the match has to complete in 2 hours.
Okay, so that is a format that we actually haven't gotten to see very much of. You know, it's kind of only for the tippest top tournaments where you actually get to do a whole best of 3. So these matches are going to be it's a little less variance just because you get to play at the minimum 2 games. So if you lose twice in a row, it's at least slightly less likely to have to do with luck. All right, I'm going to bet on Instagram winning it all just because I want him to. That's my only reason.
Yeah, Instagram, he makes a lot of conventions and even made the European convention recently.
Which is pretty impressive.
I'm pretty sure he'll be at Cider Fest.
Well, hopefully he'll bring a cool champion playmat.